All right, we are at NextMod in Markham, Ontario, and they've been very involved in the project since the beginning, and today is the Dyno Day. So let's go find out what that means. And thanks for the sweater, David.
We're at the dyno today. The dyno that we're using is a hub dyno, so we mount it up to the hubs, and it eliminates a bunch of tire slippage and any unwanted variables that we might have. The dyno definitely comes right after you finish building your car. You want to get a baseline of everything before you go to the track so you can make sure that there are no bugs or anything that you don't want at the track. I would definitely like to see a smooth graph and make sure that we're making power consistently throughout the power band and hopefully see a plus 800 number. He definitely gets into his state of mind. You know, he gets very quiet and extremely focused. It's a good environment to be around because we're all in the same mindset and trying to figure out what we need to do. Well, I think we're ready, so why don't we go see the dyno? Our exhaust exits out the bumper, and with a hub dyno, you do have a couple problems there because the hub dyno is right where we're exiting our exhaust. So NextMod created a up pipe that comes out the side of the car away from the dyno pack to keep everything safe and working well.
This is awesome, man.
Okay.
This is awesome. Okay, so a dyno day for me. It's a super exciting day. I usually can't sleep the night before. It's kind of like Christmas in the morning. But it's also filled with a lot of nerves because you just don't know what's going to happen. You know, you could either have where you make all sorts of jam and make lots of power, or you know what, you could have, you know, a catastrophic failure. And so all the work that you've done is, you know, kind of out the window or in a starting point to have to, you know, do some rebuild works. So we've actually been fortunate enough to have Brian at Advanced Powerhouse in conjunction with NextMod that stepped in to do our Motec work. And so very, very long tenured tuner here in the Toronto marketplace. Very well known, does a lot of work on course cars, you know, has full knowledge on drag cars as well. So we feel like we're definitely in good hands in doing the process. And he's very much asked that, you know, he wants that kind of creative control, which we actually really like and enjoy at this stage in the game with it being a new platform, you know, to us. And so he's kind of joined in as a family member, and so has NextMod, who's already a very integral family member in the Fuzz Factory team and what we've been doing here at Race Driver as it is. So I can't say that I don't feel confident on that side. I just feel a little nervous as to, you know, what the results are going to be. I think we'll probably get, you know, I'd like to see 800 horses come off of the turbo alone. You know, somewhere in the 8s would be ideal. And then if we're in a situation to be able to use the nitrous, you know, then I would like to see somewhere in the 9s. If we can get more than 8 out of the turbo itself, and we could get somewhere near 4 digits, I think that would be like a utopia for us in the build. But it's actually not something that we're going for. It's we're really just really focused on what's going to happen on the track as opposed to a dyno queen battle. We're not into it. I think Brian Newcluster is feeling the same nerves that I have. You know, he's put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it, a lot of hours. But until you get there and you kind of get a result and you can breathe that sigh of relief after, you know, it's just not going to go away. So we're both, you know, I think suffering a little bit of nerves, but they're good nerves, right? Because everybody has worked hard. So we just all really want a result, and I think that's just the passion of the game. What's happening right now is we have actually a little bit of a leak in the system. And so we're doing a little bit of troubleshooting to see if maybe we can close up that leak and get all the boost that we're looking for.
Like every time I walk away from the car, it seems to do better.
All of the polls that we've been doing lately, they're all essentially resetting the Canadian record. Not quite the, you know, horsepower record around the world, but it's definitely setting a new benchmark here in Canada. So we're proud of that, but we have a much bigger goal in mind, and that's to achieve a record on the track. So this is our last pass, and you know, the whole time we've been running at 8,500 RPM. Yeah. And so we're going to move the needle up to about 9,000 and kind of see what we get out of that. and then public cut it off at that time. So we're kind of going into some area that we've never been before, and so excited and maybe a little nervous.
Is there some risk to this?
Yeah, sure. You know what? We're going into areas that the engine hasn't been before, and so we've been making jam up to a certain point. We kind of want to do a little bit of a higher RPM test to see what that looks like. But anytime that you go and you kind of take it to that higher echelon, there's always going to be a risk to kind of push to the upper side. So
Cool. You need to say that again. I couldn't hear a word you were saying. I was just nodding.
yeah.
You think the head gasket win?
So there's part of the boost pressure problem.
The
So
forward
that's
stand, the bolt's not hot.
All right, that's how she goes. This is that part in the dyno that I was talking about earlier, where there's a little bit of inherent risk, and so we've blown the head gasket on the car. So we've got a nice little mess of coolant and stuff like that right now. So we're gonna replace the head gasket on the car and clean up the mess that we've made. That's all over the beautiful engine that we've made. But that's part of the process here, right? Is to go into the unknowns. You'll suffer some problems here and there, and so we have. And so no crying over the spilt milk. Back to work, game plan it, and right back into what it is that we're doing.
We made power. The graphs look stable, but we did have some inherent problems. One of the bolts for the flange for the turbo pipe was blown off, and then when Brian felt it, it was not hot to the touch, so that means it had been off for a little while. And I guess we were suffering some exhaust leaks for a couple pulls, but 790 horsepower, can't really complain too much.
There's some problems. I think it means we got some power on the table, so grab.
So, what'd you do today?
I made 790 wheel horsepower, broke a couple of Canadian records, and blew the head gasket.